All right, guys, we're back with you. We're going to touch on another subject. We mentioned it earlier, some non-owned options in a previous video. And we talked about if you own an aircraft and you're flying other airplanes you don't own. So let's look at the other option. Some of us have access to airplanes that we don't own, but we don't own one ourselves. Therefore, we don't have a policy out there in which we're the named insured that's going to cover us in other aircraft. And this will also apply to CFIs. There's coverage out there for personal non-owned liability insurance. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to fly any aircraft that's single engine piston, 450 horsepower or less than 7 seats. And you're going to buy limits of liability all the way up to $1 million, and you can buy physical damage for the aircraft itself, all the way up to $150,000. The benefit of a policy like this is it goes with you. You are the named insured. Any aircraft that meets those categories, I can go fly it and I'm going to be covered. I can fly an RV-8, for example. I could fly a Stearman. I could fly a Cessna 210. I could fly a Bonanza. Any of those things, as long as they do not go outside of the categories of the policy, again, which is 450 horsepower, single engine piston, 7 seats or less. That opens you up to a whole lot of things. The other thing it does for you is the policy, as I said, is written for you. You are the policy holder. So whatever limit I buy, if I buy the $1 million of liability and I get sued as the pilot, I'm going to have that $1 million. I'm not splitting it up as an additional insured on somebody else's policy where that full $1 million would not cover me. The other benefit to a non-owned policy, it's going to pay the deductible. I believe up to $5,000, whether or not you were negligent. And by the way, a non-owned policy hinges on negligence. It's not going to pay out for you on your behalf if you're flying an aircraft and the engine throws a rod or you blow a cylinder. That's a maintenance issue. That's a wear and tear issue. That's not something you could have prevented, you could have done. Therefore, you're not liable for it because liability hinges on negligence. However, if you're negligent, let's say you run it out of fuel, you pump jet fuel into an aircraft that takes 100 low lead, and again, this has to be a piston aircraft, so obviously you shouldn't be running 100 jet fuel in it. But if you did something like that that could be deemed negligent, now this policy is going to pay out on your behalf. The key here is it's going to defend you in a lawsuit whether or not you were negligent, whether or not you're liable. And that's worth its weight in gold because you can be sued no matter what. You can be added on to any lawsuit out there. And I promise you, if you put an airplane down somewhere, especially in a schoolyard, or if somebody gets injured, whether or not you had anything to do with it other than being the pilot and you did everything textbook to try to prevent it, you're still going to be named in a lawsuit. That's just the world we live in today. So the non-owned policy is going to defend you for that. Where it benefits flight schools and where it benefits your buddy who's letting you borrow the aircraft, fill in the blank. It's got loss of use coverage on there for the third party. That's worth its weight in gold. That can save friendships. That's why you see these flight schools out here when you want to go rent an airplane requiring you to carry it. Most likely they don't even know that's why they want you to do it, but it's on there. It benefits them. They should know about that. We try to teach them about it, but they don't always. However, again, that's a benefit for them. It's a benefit on your behalf for them, keeps you in good standings with them for future events. So, and let me make another point here as well. Even if you own an aircraft, as we talked in this other video we did, there are limitations on the non-owned, even on your own policy. And there's a lot more limitations than if you have a standalone non-owned policy. So there may be some cases where even if you own an aircraft, if you're going to be flying, let's say, for example, your owned aircraft in the non-owned coverage section of that policy says you can't, it excludes experimental aircraft, and you want to fly your buddy's RV, okay? Let's say you got access to an RV-8. That may not be covered on your owned aircraft policy for the airplane you own. In that case, you might want to buy a non-owned policy that would cover that. Now, I know that's two policies, but only one's going to pay out, and that's going to be your non-owned policy. The other thing you can do, as we've discussed in other videos, add yourself or have them add you as an additional insured. Make sure you get that waiver of subrogation. So there's multiple ways you can cover this here. It can get a little confusing. I hope this has helped clear it up. But if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Ask your agent. Call us if you don't have an agent or if you're not sure if he knows the answer. You can also find more answers on our blog, clearontop.com. or you can visit us on our website, aviationinsurance.com. Get out there, get the flying, have a good time, be safe. We'll see you.